Hey, good day everyone. So today we're going to talk about a new game called Worker Town. So the game will probably launch at Q1 2022. But before we get into more details, I'm going to put a quick disclaimer here that I'm going to put this game right now at the moment as a high risk game, mainly because I don't know who the team are. They're not doxed. And there are no partnerships or strategic investors that they have currently that's linked to the game. So without those two, I'm gonna put this at higher risk. But the plus side here is that if you check their Twitter, they have a lot of followers. They have 22,000 followers, and I did check the fake audit report for Twitter, and the good news there is that it's saying like 92% is that most of these are legit followers, so that's good news. So at least we're kind of safe there. Then another plus here is that on the Discord channel, they actually have 25,000 people. So on the bright side, we have a good community, which is very important, probably one of the more critical ones, because even if you have strategic partnerships, even if you have docs teams, but without a community to actually support the project, then it's bound to fail, right? But still, at the end of the day, there's still risks, right? I mean, the team, you don't know who the team are. Chances are, if they want to rug, then they can just rug. So I'm just going to put it at that for the time being, and up to you if you still want to get into the game or not. For me, I'm interested personally. Hence, I want to highlight this game right now while it's still at pre-sale. Alright, so let's begin looking into the game. So right now, I can say upfront that this game is actually inspired by Bomb Crypto, mainly because of the aesthetics, but also the mechanics that they implemented for the game, which we'll get into the white paper in a bit. So right now, let's look into the website. So they have highlighted here about the worker routine. So you will have characters in the game that are of different classes, right? So you have farmers, you have ninjas, you have knights, and you also have the royalty, and you also have other people as well, like old people, young people, and so on and so forth. And they will have their roles in society. But at the end of the day, what you as a player will do is that once you hire these people, or once you get them from chess, for example, they will start as in idle mode, right? Meaning they're waiting for you to give them tasks. So in here, you assign them to their tasks, then they'll do their work for a certain period of time. And once they finish their work, then you will earn coins. This is going to be the in-game currency of the game. This is not a token that you can trade in the DEX. This is an in-game currency token, which you can trade in-game to the governance token of the game. So to make it easier for you to understand, if you have played PVU or Block Farm Club, that's the idea, right? You buy your governance token from the DEX, then you have to go into the game, trade within the game for a certain amount, then they give you the coins. For Block Farm, they'll give you gems. For PVU, I forgot what the in-game currency was, but they'll give you that as well. Now, the only thing that worries me about this concept is that those two games had a lot of issues in terms of economy. So I don't know if this type of concept will actually work. But if they do manage to make it work, then probably this is the first game that managed to implement that properly. So anyway, so after you earn and finish working, they will be exhausted. Same idea as Bomb Crypto, right? Once they finish, they do their bombing stuff, then they'll get exhausted, they'll get tired, they need to rest. Now, the main difference here is that I know you still need to give food for these characters while they're exhausted or while they're resting. I forgot which one, but you have to give them food, otherwise the timer will stop, then they'll just stay in that mode. So you need to make sure to give them that so the timer will start counting. Then once they're fully rested, then they can go back to idle mode. So this is finished resting, and it'll go back up here, then you can start putting them to work again. So I think that's the only job that you need to do. Mainly you put them to idle, put them to work, then once they're exhausted, give them food, put them to bed, then once they're okay, then you can put them back to work again. So that's the cycle of the game. Now, as I mentioned, there are different classes, so they call it worker classes. So you'll see there's rarity 6. These are the rarest one, which you can only get in this pre-sale, which we'll get into in a bit. You'll have different rarities, like bandit leaders. You have farmers at rarity 2, dancers at rarity 3, and so on and so forth. So these different classes will have different salaries, which we'll get into the white paper, which will have the breakdown. But first, let's get into the roadmap. So right now, they started in Q4 2021, and they've already started building up community. White paper, they've done the website, they've done Telegram channel, Discord channel, Twitter channel, They've already done most of those. I think the next thing that's going to start now would be the pre-sale, because they need the pre-sale buyers who will be part of the alpha test, the closed alpha test. All right, so that's going to be important. So the pre-sale will have legendary chests, which is only 50 units. So this will contain the royal family, the rarity 6 units. Then they'll have the settler chest, which will be 2,000 units, which will contain from rare, uncommon up until legendary. So legendary will not be the same as the legendary chest. Legendary will be a tier below the legendary chest, right? Okay, for phase 2 first quarter, so this is going to be, I guess, trying to close out the alpha testing, and they're going to give rewards to the top performing alpha testers and for those who manage to do certain achievements in the alpha test. So I guess that's it. Then what's going to happen in mid first quarter, so probably in February, so they're going to launch their main governance token, which is the worker town token, then the official launch of the game. Then now you can actually mint houses and workers. So I don't know if there's going to be limitations in terms of minting, but like for bomb crypto you can always mint, but for houses it's always limited. But for this one I don't know, they didn't really mention even in the white paper, so I'm not exactly sure if that's going to be limited. Now, staking coins in the gardens to earn worker town tokens. Now that's interesting. That's a good approach, I think, just to get people to earn a bit more. Then you will have a bank to invest the worker town tokens in and get passive rewards in worker town tokens. So this just basically means you're staking, right? For phase 4 second quarter, they're gonna have a second maker phase, just meaning that the workers will have experience in leveling system. Then the house will have different types of benefits for certain classes. Then they will have the marketplace. So this is pretty much down the line here, so we're not exactly sure if they're gonna make it as far as this one, but I'm crossing my fingers. Hopefully they do, because the idea is great, and you know, I've been waiting to get into something similar to bomb crypto as well. But again, the challenge here is, you know, how well will these project owners be able to manage the economy of the game. So hopefully they can manage that well enough to survive maybe for at least a year, right? Then they will also have phase 5 third quarter 2022 breeding system. So I mean, this is too far off, we don't know if that's gonna even happen. So anyways, we can cross that off the list. So now let's get into the white paper. So the white paper goes straight to the rewards. So this is where we can look into the salary of each of the units that will be available in the game. So they will have different rarities, they will have different salary, and they will have different hours on when you can get the salary for those characters. So best example here is, let's say for example for innkeeper, they have a salary of 96, but you can only get that for every 24 hours, while a villager will have a 48 salary, but you can get it every 12 hours. Now, but again, at the end of the day, in terms of salary, it's going to be the same for them, but it may be different for others, and they also have different hours on when you can actually get their salaries. So it's going to differ from each of these worker classes, so you can look into these in detail. Now next we can look into the worker town token. So this is going to be the governance token of the game, and they will have the coins token, which is the in-game currency. So I've mentioned earlier, the worker town token will be converted to coins, so you can purchase items in the game. Now they haven't announced yet on what exactly is the conversion of a worker town token to coins. We'll see once maybe they get closer to launch. Now next we're going to look into the pre-sale for December 2021. So again, I've already mentioned earlier, there is only going to be 50 chests for the legendary royal chest, meaning that this is the only time and the only way for everybody who wants to play in the game to acquire a royalty character. So they're going to be very, very rare, and they're going to cost around $250, which is not bad for the price, and it's something definitely I'm also hoping maybe I can get one. And they're gonna limit this to one person per wallet, so I guess we'll have probably 50 people, or I mean maybe less than that, right? Then in terms of rarity, on probability rates, so the king will be 12.5%, queen will be the rarest of all, which is 7.5%, and she has the highest salary out of everyone else. Then the prince will be 45%, and princess will be 35%. Now for a settler chest, there will be 2,000 chests that's going to be available for a fixed price of $50, but they're going to give a discount I think for the first 200, which will be mentioned later in the whitelist presale list. So in terms of rarity, you're going to get 45% uncommon, 35% rare, 15% epic, 4% unique, and 1% legendary. Just take note that the legendary is a tier lower than the royalty chest, because these are the rarest one, then the next will be the legendary. Now for closed alpha, as I mentioned earlier, so if you are part of the pre-sale, then you will be eligible for the alpha test, the closed alpha test. Then you'll see how the game works firsthand, which is great. But then they will also have what they call achievements. So they will be rewarding the top 10 players in the game, and those who actually complete certain achievements in the game, and you will get, I guess, whatever rewards that they plan to give out once maybe the game launches. Now for the whitelist pre-sale, just a little bit of information. So this is the link on how you can apply for the whitelist pre-sale. Then there will be 200 winner wallets from that. Then the benefits of winning the whitelist is that you'll have an hour earlier of exclusive buying before the public pre-sale date, which is great because that means that probably before even the public sale, the 50 chests for the legendary ones will be sold out. So you really need to be fast when you're going to be purchasing this. Then next will be, they'll have a 30% discount on the first 200 units, so from $50 to $35. So what they did here is that it's first come first serve for these 200 people, so chances are you might not even get the legendary chest if you're slow enough, or you might not even get the discounted chest. So really need to be quick once the sale comes in, so just make sure to prioritize what you want to buy first. Now next we're going to talk about towns. So workers is what we've already discussed earlier, so we're not going to get into this anymore. The next important thing would be houses. So again, in Bomb Crypto we also have houses, but in here they have houses in different tiers. So for these ones, if you want to purchase a house, you will have a common, uncommon, rare, and unique house, which will accommodate workers with a larger capacity. So the rarer it is, the more capacity that they can give. Then by default, also for all players, you will have a free house. Then you can also upgrade that free house to get it to tier 3, which will allow you to accommodate a maximum of 4 players. Now they also have a concept of beds. So the beds, I think from my understanding, is you need to rent the beds because they provide like a number of hours. So for 72 hours you can rent a regular bed for 135 coins, luxury bed for 250 coins, but for more hours, so you get it a little bit cheaper. Then for legendary, then you can get 216 hours for 350 coins. I think it's also a little bit cheaper. So I guess at the end of the day, it's really up to you which one you want to pick, depending on the budget that you have. So this is probably going to be a recurring cost in the game. Now in the shop, one key note, as I mentioned earlier, it has the exact same information, with the exception of the chicken for food and health potions. So one thing to note here is that they highlighted this: the time our worker needs to rest equals the working time. So that's really curious, because if let's say you have a character that works 24 hours, so does that mean that they're also going to rest 24 hours? That's going to put a little bit of a dynamic in the game if that's the case, right? So that makes sense why the bed rentals are these long. So next we can look into food. So there's chicken and potions, right? Food and potions, you have chicken and health potions. So chicken, as I mentioned earlier, you need to feed your characters, otherwise the rest time will be paused. So meaning that if they're resting, they're just gonna stay rested until you feed them. So you just need to make sure you feed them. So the cost is 50 coins for 20 chickens. So just make sure to have that allocated and ready. Then you also have health potions, which will give your characters full HP. So just make sure you always do that. Otherwise, you will generate less 50 coins if they go to 0 HP. Alright, and I think that's about it. The roadmap, we've already gone through the roadmap. For the teams, again, as I mentioned, they're not doxed, but you know, they have their nicknames here, but that's not really gonna help us, like what exactly who they are. But we do know they're from South America, from what I'm seeing. Yeah, and one of them is from Spain, but it's the community team. So at the end of the day, I guess I'll put this still at high risk in my opinion. So again, really up to you if you want to get into the game. Just do your own research. You know, I always recommend like going to the Discord channel, check their Twitter, check their Telegram, get a feel of the community, try to understand, you know, how the people are feeling about the game and how the community are as a whole, right? So with that, guys, thank you for watching the video. Hope you have a wonderful day and stay safe out there.